This is a highly requested video across all of my platforms, and I'm finally doing it for you guys. Step-by-step video on how to do the DIY beaded necklaces, kind of anthropology inspired beaded necklaces, or just necklaces in general. A lot of you guys have asked for slow down because everything's been done in short form, so here it is. All of these necklaces are what we're going to be kind of recreating today. So first and foremost, what you need, and I will have everything linked that I can link. Main things that you will need will be all your different types of pliers, and I bought these in a set. These three came in a set. This one came separately. Your basic needle nose pliers, and I love to use these to grab on and hold on to things while I'm working. These guys which cut wire. These which, you know, I'll put the actual names on the screen. I don't know the actual names. These I also use to kind of just hold on to other ends of the jewelry or string. These are also used to open jump rings. All the time, what string I use. Here it is up close and personal for you. I like to use the gold version of this just because I prefer gold jewelry. I use a lot of gold accents, gold closure. It comes in clear, it comes in silver. You will need these beads. These are crimp beads. Last but not least, other than obviously your beads, you're gonna need a bead board. You could do this on a placemat, on a little tablecloth or something, but I'm telling you, a bead board just makes your life 1,000 times easier. They even have some with plastic tops so that you can keep your stuff nice and neat and your beads are not going to fly off. You can lay out your design, you can hold things in here. I put like the closures, the beads, it just keeps it nice and organized. For this video, I'm going to do kind of the anthro inspired one with the colorful beads. This is the set of beads that I always get at Hobby Lobby. Well, they look like this, they come in different variations, but I just like that it comes with a ton of them, and a lot of time these are half off, so they're like $4 for the whole container. Closures, you can buy them like this. This set is from Hobby Lobby. They come ready to go. Onto the actual necklace making, I'm gonna lay out my string. The length of it is up to you. What I do typically is just pull out a bunch of string and then I kind of wrap it around my neck. I know this is not ideal, but I just find that the measurements, for me anyway, around the board are not the most accurate. So I pull it around my neck and kind of figure out where I want it to sit, and then like the center of the necklace, and then I give myself like 1 or 2 inches extra just because you'd rather have more than less, right? We'll use our cutting pliers, and you're gonna cut wherever the length is you want, and then you can put this to the side. We're gonna get everything else just set up, so I'm just gonna put the closures in one, the beads in the center, and just so I can have everything laid out visually. For this particular necklace, I'm gonna use this size right here, which is kind of like a medium. It's not a medium, but it's a small medium. These ones are really tiny. Now for the beads, these little gold beads I use as like spacer beads. So I'll do a colorful one, then one of these gold ones, and then just repeat the pattern. I got asked a lot if I use these as crimp beads. Regular beads and crimp beads are very different. I tried to squish one of these in between the pliers. It would crack in half. The crimp beads are thinner, more pliable, so no, I do not use them as crimp beads. They're not interchangeable. Glass bead and plastic one. We'll start with that. If I need more for the length that I want, I will add more. So this closure in particular has the whole entire thing, so what you would put on one end and then the lobster claw on the other. So what I'm gonna do is take the lobster claw off. There's a little jump ring right here that I'm going to take off. I just grab the jump ring with my needle nose pliers, and then I will grab another pair of pliers and use one pair of pliers to pull towards me, the other one to pull away from me. So just to open it. You can also open it with those opening pliers if you want, and it'll just pop off. This piece that still has the jump ring attached, we're just going to close the jump ring with the pliers. Now comes the infamous crimp bead. So I just wanted to show you guys what one looks like, but up close. But we're just going to use one. We don't need more than one. You're going to slide it onto the string. Did I get it on there? She's on there now. Now you can put your closure or your extender. It doesn't really matter because whatever you don't put on this end, you'll put on the other end. It truly doesn't matter. We're gonna put the lobster claw on, or whatever type of closure you want to use. And this is the part I think that a lot of people get stumped on or struggle with. I'm gonna go as slow as I can. You can really slow it down if you need to, or hopefully it'll make sense. What I do is I take my hand under, and then I'm gonna pull it this way to loop the string. The end of the string, so you can see my hand is kind of backwards. You're not gonna put it back through the hole of the lobster claw or your jump ring that your lobster claw is attached to. You're just gonna take the end of the string and feed it back through your crimp bead. And then you can slide your crimp bead up. So you see how it kind of created a loop there. If you want to use your fingers, you can. You don't want it to be too tight because then it's going to break off. The lobster claw will break off. So give it a little bit of wiggle room to kind of move around. And then you're going to take your pliers, your needle nose pliers, and literally just squish over the crimp bead. And squeeze. So now your crimp bead is flat. And you can squish it again the other direction. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't, but that's basically one end of your closure. So now you can see there's no string sticking out the top of the beads, so it's not going to poke you. Now you can just start stringing your necklace however you want to, depending on your design. Okay, now we finally have reached the end. We have our whole necklace done. Now it's time to put on the actual closure. I'm sitting on the opposite side of the camera now, sorry. I'm very pregnant, so it's really uncomfortable for me to be on the other side. This is where your bead board really comes in handy because you can lay out your necklace and not worry about your beads flying off the table. You're gonna need another crimp bead. Your other closure, which might be your chain, your lobster claw. I'm gonna grab my chain, my crimp bead, and I'm also going to add a couple beads on this end as well, just so that they both match. You don't have to do this, but I don't know, I just like to do that. I made my string way too long, but I'm gonna add those two beads, the same ones we added on the other side, same ones I've been using as spacer beads. Just string them all the way down to the bottom. And one thing you wanna make sure with your necklaces is to kind of pull your beads down. That way there's not a bunch of loose space in between your crimp bead and your closure. It won't be like an inch of string between your beads so they're not sliding around everywhere. I put those on the string. Next is going to be your crimp bead, and then you're going to put your closure. Slide that on the string and just let it fall down to the very bottom, and then you're gonna grab your closure. I personally like to put an extender because I can't stand when a necklace is really short, but that is up to you. Do that chain, and then we're gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna put my hand under. It's actually a little easier to tell from this angle. Under, and I'm gonna grab the string, the end of it, and then we're gonna turn my hand over to create that loop. And then we're gonna put it through the crimp bead. You pass by, you're just gonna feed it back through the crimp bead. You can hold it with your thumb so it doesn't move. Slide that crimp bead up just a little bit. Then I take my pliers and I grab the extra string and I'm just gonna pull it. So then our crimp bead, our two extra beads are nice and taut and there's no extra string around here. This is when you're going to use your pliers to squish the crimp bead, crimp the crimp bead, I guess is how I really should be saying it. Hold the string nice and taut and then crimp your crimp bead. And if you have any sticking out still, you can feed it back through those beads. So that it's not poking you. Now you have your finished necklace with your closure. Oh, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like this video, subscribe. Tell me if there's any other DIYs you'd like me to recreate in this long format video version. I would love to do it.